Welcome, lovely friends, and a very cozy welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're stepping inside a magical little hideaway, a tiny cottage styled in rustic, French farmhouse elegance, glowing under soft Christmas lights. As the snow, or simply the imagination, drifts softly outside, you'll be invited into a world of warmth, charm, and vintage holiday magic. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below if you love cozy decor as much as I do. Curl up with a cup of cocoa, get comfy, and let's step into this enchanting holiday home tour together. Imagine approaching a quaint cottage door framed by a garland of pine and eucalyptus, dotted with tiny fairy lights that glow like stars. The door itself is aged wood, weathered, warm, and full of character. A simple wreath, woven from pine cones, dried oranges, and sprigs of evergreen, hangs center stage. The overall effect, a soft, rustic welcome that whispers, "Come in, you're home." It sets the tone as cozy, natural, and inviting, the perfect prelude to a French farmhouse Christmas evening. Stepping inside, the hallway greets you with gentle lantern-style wall lights casting a mellow glow. A distressed wooden console table sits against the wall, topped with a vintage ceramic pitcher filled with dried lavender and pine sprigs, bringing a subtle Provence scent indoors. On the floor, a woven runner rug in neutral tones hints at rustic elegance. The walls are a soft cream, slightly imperfect, bearing the marks of time, and that imperfection feels lived in and real. This small space already promises comfort and calm. As you enter the living room, envision exposed wooden beams overhead, soft wood floors underfoot, and a fireplace waiting to be dressed for the holidays. The palette? Think warm creams, soft grays, natural wood tones, and occasional touches of muted green. A well-worn sofa draped with a chunky knit throw and plush pillows beckons you to sink in. Nearby, a coat rack repurposed from old wood holds vintage scarves and hats, adding a lived-in, sentimental vibe. This is the kind of space where every scratch, every faded finish, tells a story, and invites you to add your own. The mantel above the fireplace becomes the centerpiece of holiday spirit, adorned with a lush garland of pine boughs, intertwined with dried orange slices, cinnamon sticks, and a few ribbon bows in soft burlap tones. Flickering pillar candles at varying heights rest on vintage metal candle holders, their flicker casting gentle shadows across the walls. Maybe there's an old, slightly tarnished mirror above the mantel, reflecting the glow and doubling the warmth. Low wicker baskets on the hearth hold firewood, practical, yes, but also part of the rustic charm. It's a hearth that invites storytelling, warmth, and togetherness. In the corner stands a modest tree, not flamboyant, but beautifully natural. Think soft white lights twinkling like fireflies, handcrafted ornaments, dried orange slices, salt dough stars tied with twine, little bundles of cinnamon, maybe a few tarnished glass baubles that look like heirlooms. Branches are spaced apart so the tree seems airy and authentic, not overstuffed. A simple velvet bough or a rustic star crowns the top, nothing flashy, but full of soul. Gifts wrapped in brown craft paper with twine ribbons rest beneath, ready to be shared in quiet delight. This tree feels personal, timeless, a nod to Christmases past, celebrated with gentle intention. Beside the fireplace, a vintage armchair with slightly worn upholstery invites you to sit. Over its back drapes a soft wool blanket in oatmeal tones. At its side, a small side table holds a steaming mug of cocoa and an open holiday book. A soft throw pillow rests against the chair's back, maybe with a subtle plaid pattern. Candlelight dances nearby, and the mantel's glow bounces off the wood floor. In that moment, the room feels suspended in time, quiet, warm, secure. A perfect place to reflect, to read, or simply to breathe in the holiday hush. The dining table is a long farmhouse-style wood piece, its surface worn smooth by years of meals and memories. Across it lies a linen table runner in muted cream, and down the center, a garland of evergreen sprigs, pine cones, and maybe a few cinnamon sticks tied with raffia. Simple white ceramic plates, vintage silverware, and old-world glassware set the table. Perhaps a silver gravy boat or aged brass candlesticks add subtle shimmer under the warm light. The effect is effortless, refined yet humble, humble yet inviting. It's the kind of table where laughter, whispers, and warmth come together. In the kitchen, wooden shelves display chipped ceramic pitchers, old copper pots, and glass jars filled with dried herbs or seasonal treats. The countertops may bear marks, little chips here, slight discoloration there, but this is what makes them real, homey. A bunch of dried lavender hangs by the window, clay pots of fresh herbs rest on the sill. Light spills in softly through old pane windows. The kitchen feels alive, familiar, as if generations of holiday meals have been prepared here. It's not polished perfection, it's warmth, character, and real life. All around the cottage are details that give character: a flaky paint-finished wooden shutter leaned casually in a corner, woven baskets holding firewood or greenery, ceramic pitchers turned into vases for dried lavender or pine. Throw pillows in linen or burlap, rugs with muted stripes or soft patterns, and gentle layering of fabrics. These textures invite touch and warmth. The scent of pine, dried orange, and perhaps a hint of cinnamon lingers. It's a space where senses are gently awakened, not overstimulated, creating a calm comfort that feels timeless and true. Upstairs or in a tucked-away corner lies the bedroom, with soft linens, a slightly distressed wooden bed frame, and pillows layered just so. A plush throw lies folded at the foot of the bed. A small bedside table holds a candle or a vintage oil lamp, casting a gentle glow. Perhaps there's a sprig of pine or lavender on the nightstand, a subtle nod to the holiday season. The walls may have a soft, muted wallpaper or simply painted in creamy pastels. The overall mood, peaceful, cozy, like a snow-covered cottage in the French countryside, safe and serene. If there's a staircase or a hallway, it's not forgotten. A simple garland winds along the banister, pine branches nestled with tiny fairy lights, a few pine cones tucked in, maybe a soft burlap ribbon draped loosely. On the wall hangs small framed vintage prints or black and white photos, perhaps of past winters, family gatherings, or countryside scenes. Light spills from rustic sconces, casting long, gentle shadows. Even in these transitional spaces, the warmth lingers, nothing flashy, but everything intentional, comfortable, and full of character. Throughout the cottage, lighting is soft, restful, and warm. Lanterns, candles, softened string lights, perhaps a few sconces with warm bulbs, none too bright, none too harsh. Light bounces off wood beams and vintage surfaces, creating gentle contrasts between light and shadow. The idea isn't to spotlight every detail, but to let spaces breathe, to invite the eye to rest in calm corners. That kind of lighting turns ordinary moments, reading a book, sipping tea, watching snow fall, or rain, or just night, into something magical, meditative, and deeply comforting. Garlands of pine, juniper, even dried lavender or eucalyptus, these whisper of French countryside winters, of foraged woods and simple country charm. Maybe a few sprigs of holly, pine cones tucked here and there, dried orange slices hung like ornaments or placed in bowls. Wicker baskets hold extra greenery or firewood. Potted herbs on windowsills add soft natural texture. The result, a home that feels connected to nature, grounded in seasons, and imbued with simple elegance. It's not about perfection, it's about authenticity, warmth, and life lived with quiet grace. Here and there, perhaps you spot a tarnished silver candlestick, an old ceramic pitcher with cracks, a worn wooden stool, a pie-safe cabinet with chipped paint. These are the pieces with history, objects that have seen years of breakfasts, laughter, messy dinners, quiet mornings. That slight imperfection, the worn wood grain, faded paint, uneven finish, those aren't flaws. They are character. They tell stories. They make the cottage not a showroom, but a home. And in a holiday season built on memories, that kind of authenticity feels precious. Imagine a small wooden dining nook, 2 chairs, a round rustic table illuminated by a candle lantern. Perhaps a teapot of mulled cider rests on it, with mugs steaming gently. Soft blankets drape over chairs. A basket of pine cones or nuts sits nearby. The room smells softly of cinnamon, pine, maybe a hint of citrus. Outside the window, dusk. Inside, quiet laughter, shared stories, warm glances. It's intimate. It's humble. It's the kind of space where even the simplest moments become memorable. That's the charm of a cottage Christmas, unpretentious, heartfelt, and full of love. What makes this tiny cottage Christmas special is the balance between rustic simplicity and understated elegance. It's not about over-decorating, not about flashy ornaments or cluttered spaces. It's about restraint, intention, and heart. A few carefully chosen natural elements, handmade ornaments, vintage pieces, soft lighting, and soft textiles, that's all. This quiet, gentle approach lets each piece breathe, each moment linger. The result feels refined yet homey, elegant yet accessible, a true embodiment of rustic cottage charm with a French farmhouse soul. If you're watching this and thinking, I wish my home could feel like that, know this: you don't need a mansion. You don't need expensive decor. What you need are pieces that speak to you: natural textures, vintage finds, soft blankets, flickering lights, wooden furniture, real greenery. Start small. A candle here, a sprig of pine there, a handmade ornament, a warm throw, a rustic bowl. Little by little, you build a space that feels like magic. Your home becomes more than a dwelling, it becomes a sanctuary that reflects who you are and welcomes who you love. And so, dear friends, I hope this little tour, this peek inside a cozy rustic cottage brought to life with tiny French farmhouse elegance, has filled you with inspiration, warmth, and maybe even a longing for your own holiday haven. Christmas is not just about lights or ornaments or perfect Instagram moments. It's about comfort, connection, memory, and love. Whether your home is large or small, you can create magic with intention, with heart, and with what you already have. If you love this cozy tour, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you would style your own holiday home. Wishing you a season full of warmth, joy, and beautiful moments. See you soon, and may your holiday be as cozy as this cottage.